How do I know if my boundary is loving or selfish? That question creates a lot of guilt for people of faith because maybe you finally set a boundary. You said no. You stepped back. You stopped explaining yourself over and over. You stopped giving someone unlimited access to your time, your home, your emotions, your marriage, or your children. And now you're wondering, was that loving? Was that selfish? Am I protecting something sacred? Or am I just protecting myself from discomfort? Would Jesus have set a boundary? My name's John LaFront, and I want to welcome you to Cleave Answers, where we give clear, faith-grounded answers to the hardest questions about family, boundaries, estrangement, reconciliation, and of course, Christ-like healing. And today we're talking about this question: how do I know if my boundary is loving or selfish? Now, the first thing that I want to say on this subject is this: a boundary is not automatically selfish just because someone does not like it. A lot of people get stuck right there because unhealthy people often call your boundary selfish when it limits their access to you. They may say, "You've changed. You've become cold. You're tearing the family apart. You only care about yourself now. You're not being Christ-like." But sometimes what they are calling selfish is actually the first healthy limit that you have ever set. And if you've spent years being the peacekeeper, the fixer, the overexplainer, the emotional shock absorber, or the one who always gives in, a healthy boundary may feel selfish at first. And that's not because it is selfish, but because it is unfamiliar. Second, a loving boundary protects what God has entrusted to you. That includes your heart, your marriage, your children, your home, your time, your emotional health, your spiritual clarity, and your ability to live honestly before God. A boundary becomes loving when it protects stewardship. For example, I will not allow my marriage to be constantly pulled into family chaos. I will not allow my children to be exposed to manipulation, shame, or emotional volatility. I will not keep having conversations where truth is punished and accountability is avoided. I will not keep pretending peace exists when everyone is just afraid to tell the truth. Those are not selfish boundaries. Those are protective boundaries. And in many cases, they are deeply loving. Because love does not mean giving everyone unlimited access to everything God has placed in your care. Third, a selfish boundary is usually about control. A loving boundary is usually about stewardship. A selfish boundary says, "I want to punish you. I want to control you. I want to make you feel what I felt. I want to avoid all discomfort. I want to do whatever I want without considering anyone else." But a loving boundary sounds different. A loving boundary says, "I want peace, but not at the expense of truth. I want relationship, but not without respect. I want reconciliation, but not without repair. I want to love you, but I cannot keep participating in this pattern. I am not trying to control you. I am choosing what I can and cannot participate in." That is a very different spirit, because a boundary is not about controlling another person's choices. It is about taking responsibility for your own. And I want us to be really careful here. Sometimes people can use boundaries in unhealthy ways. A boundary can become a wall, a threat, a punishment, a way to avoid accountability, a way to never have hard conversations, a way to say, "You can never challenge me. You can never disagree with me. You can never make me uncomfortable." That is not maturity. That's avoidance. Christian boundaries still require humility. They require self-examination. They require prayer. They require a willingness to ask, "Am I telling the truth? Am I acting out of fear or wisdom? Am I trying to punish someone or protect something? Am I still open to repair if real repentance and changed behavior show up? Am I becoming more Christ-like through this, Or am I becoming more hard-hearted? Those are really good questions because the goal of a boundary is not to become cold. The goal is to become clear. And fourth, sometimes a loving boundary will still disappoint people. That is really hard for many people of faith because we often confuse love with making everyone feel okay. But Jesus, he disappointed people. He said no. He withdrew. He confronted. He let people walk away. He did not organize his entire life around everyone else's expectations. And if Jesus could be loving without endlessly being available, then maybe we need a better definition of love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not seek revenge. Love does not delight in evil. Love rejoices in truth. But love is not the same thing as unlimited access. Love is not the same thing as compliance. Love is not the same thing as abandoning your discernment so someone else can stay comfortable. So, how do you know if your boundary is loving or selfish? You need to ask yourself, am I trying to punish or am I trying to protect? Am I trying to control them or am I taking responsibility for me? Am I avoiding truth or am I finally telling the truth? Am I closing the door to all repair or am I requiring real repair before closeness? Is this boundary producing more honesty, peace, maturity, and stability? Or is it producing pride, cruelty, avoidance, and contempt? Because let me tell you something. The fruit, it will tell you. A loving boundary may still be painful. It may still grieve you. It may still disappoint others, but it will usually move you toward clarity, honesty, humility, and peace. A selfish boundary usually moves you toward control, punishment, avoidance, and hardness. So no, your boundary is not automatically selfish because someone accuses you of being selfish. And no, a boundary is not automatically loving just because you call it one. We have to examine the fruit. But sometimes the most loving thing that you can do is stop participating in a pattern that is destroying your peace, your marriage, your children, or your ability to live truthfully before God. Because Christ-like love is not chaos management. Christ-like love is not emotional self-abandonment. And Christ-like boundaries are not about loving less. They are about loving with truth. And if this video gave you clarity, please subscribe to our channel for more Cleave Answers, where we talk about faith and family boundaries, estrangement, reconciliation, and of course, healing through Jesus Christ. And if you're trying to understand how to set boundaries without losing your faith, my wife Ashley and I recently wrote a book called Christ-like Boundaries to help you do that with clarity, compassion, and spiritual confidence. You can find Christ-like Boundaries through the link below. And in the next Cleave Answers video, we'll answer another question we hear all the time. Can I forgive someone without trusting them again? Because forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. Hope you have a good day.